Hello and welcome back. And this is in continuation to what we've been discussing about discourse markers. So, in continuation, I would like to highlight a few more markers. The very important one to begin with is introduction markers. This, in fact, introduces the beginning of a conversation or a topic. It signals an introduction of a particular topic. So, what do you think about the new project? So, it actually introduces the new conversation that has taken shape. Outline markers provides a road map for the conversation. It provides a roadmap for the conversation. Outline markers. Example, firstly, let's discuss the budget. Then we can talk about the timelines. So this is something that signals the outline. Firstly, secondly, thirdly, subsequently, consequently. It tries to curate the content in a very distinct manner. Sequencing markers indicate the idea or steps in the discussion, the order of ideas or steps in the discussion. Next, let's move on to the challenges we might encounter. This is actually sequencing marker. Summary markers summarize key points or wrap up a discussion segment. To summarize, we need to allocate resources efficiently is an example to it. Transition markers signal a shift from one topic to another. Example, anyway, let's move on to the next agenda item. Anyway, let's move on to the next agenda item. It, in fact, it signals a transition like we saw before. Recap markers review what has been discussed previously. Reviews what has been discussed previously. Just to recap, we agreed to focus on customer feedback is a fine example to it. Closure markers signal the end of a conversation or topic. Well, that's all for today. Any final thoughts before we finish? So it signals the end of a conversation. These markers help participants navigate very efficiently. And as I had mentioned, it's ornamental. It adds a lot of value. It provides a structure. It indicates signals transition and makes the conversation meaningful. There's an introduction. There's a closure. There is a step-by-step ordering of thoughts using transition markers, sequencing markers, outline markers. So in a way, the entire communication is intelligent and in a structured, orderly manner. Okay, we'll look at some discourse markers that signal transitions. Anyway, indicates a change of topic or direction. So, introduces a new idea or a topic. Now, marks the beginning of a new point of the topic. Moving on, signals a transition to a different aspect of the conversation. On the other hand, introduces a contrasting viewpoint. In contrast, highlights an opposing perspective. That being said, indicates a shift in focus or perspective. Moreover, introduces additional information like furthermore, however, kind of thing. Now on to signals moving forward to the next topic or aspect. With that in mind, reminds participants to consider a specific aspect or perspective. So these are the discourse markers, as I mentioned, try to make the sentence well structured, well ordered, sequenced, and in a very presentable format so that communication becomes meaningful and intelligent. It's also intelligible to the person who is listening to it. So discourse markers play a very, very important role. Keep this in mind, and we'll look at the other aspects of it as days go by. Now stay tuned. Thank you very much. Let me move on to discourse markers that emphasize points or signal turn taking. There is a kind of a turn in the entire conversation. They signal, discourse markers signal that, and they also help in emphasizing point. Well, I believe we should prioritize sustainability in our business practices. So in a way, it signals, it makes an emphasis and also signals a turn taking, tries to refocus on other topic. This project is really important. tries to emphasize the speaker's point. I mean, clarifies or emphasizes again. Actually, adds emphasis or correction to a statement. Basically, simplifies or summarizes a complex idea for emphasis. Anyway, signals a transition without while also emphasizing the speaker's point. The thing, the thing is, introduces a key point or issue for emphasis. I'd like to add signals a desire to contribute to the conversation while also emphasizing the speaker's point. Let me put it this way, indicates a rephrasing or clarification of point for emphasis. To be honest, emphasizes sincerity and authenticity in the speaker's statement. So these are basic discourse markers that we can try and use in our conversation. I've been using it quite deftly to some extent. I'm trying to make it more spoken rather than having a blackboard and trying to explain, because like this is more of communicative intelligence in terms of spoken communication. So I just would want you to listen to what I'm saying, because listening is a very important skill that you need to develop, which is going to help you in the long run. So I would want you to listen carefully and follow it diligently, and even if it required, you can replay it. I'm just giving you a primer, just the basics of it. You can go on and search for yourself and try and use various of the there are thousands and thousands of markers that are available which you can use, and these are the basics of it. I've introduced you to the basics, but remember, discourse marker becomes a very important tool in making the conversation ornamental and intelligible. Thank you very much, and stay tuned, share the resources, and we'll get back to the basics again and try to make it more meaningful. Thank you very much.